Hi, so today I want to talk about the single most important factor for us to make sense of our kids and their behaviour, and that's understanding the attachment relationship we have with our children. I'll come on to that in a sec, but I just wanted to share a quick story about my day last week. So I was out with a friend and we were in the park with our children, my toddler and her two kids who are 2.5 and 6. And it was time to go. So I said to my son, please could you get in the buggy? And his answer, no. And he shook his head. So my friend said the same to her 6-year-old, it's time to go. And her answer, no. And she walked off. So I won't go into the ins and outs of our various exchanges because we go through more of that in our behaviour class. But we talked separately to our kids, collected them up and we left the park. And as we were leaving, my friend said, no, I'm okay with the no. Why would you want to leave the park? I don't want to go either. But it's when she follows it up with a, I hate you, leave me alone, that it really bugs me. Why is she so rude sometimes? So what's going on here? Do we just have rude, defiant children? To understand this, we actually have to look at something called counter-will. It's a psychological term, but it basically just means that instinctive, automatic resistance we all have to any sense of pressure or force. It's often seen first in the terrible twos, and again in teenagers. To be honest, we can see it at any age, even in adults. There's nothing abnormal about counter-will. Most of us actually don't like being pushed around. But here's where the relationship we have with our children is so important. If this relationship is secure and positive, we can navigate and understand and work with our children when we meet that no. But if our relationship is skewed or off-kilter, we can come a cropper, as it were. That no becomes every interaction, every conversation, every shrug of the shoulders. Homework, teeth brushing, room cleaning, eating, all a daily battle. And boy, does that get hard work. So this relationship can also be called attachment. Our children's attachment to us is basically the foundation on which they build their emotional and social brains. It's that inbuilt drive that we all have for kind of closeness, connection, whether that's physical or emotional bond. It's an evolutionary compass, if you like, that allows a baby and child to survive, to get their needs met, to orientate themselves and to learn about the world around them. It's easy to see in babies because, they literally have to attach to us. They wouldn't survive otherwise. If we move away or we show displeasure or we don't pick them up, they cry. They're hardwired to keep themselves close to us. And hopefully we respond appropriately and, in doing so, we begin to develop that secure attachment. Our babies begin to learn they can rely on us to be there and meet their needs. But as babies grow into toddlers and then into children, they're surrounded by friends and their peer group, who they could also attach to. So in order to continue to support our children, to nurture their growing independence, and to have a positive, productive relationship with them, we need to stay as their primary attachment figure. Their compass, not their friends. So if we aren't mindful of our relationship with our kids and work to nurture it, then we can be replaced. So in today's culture, where we're not always surrounded by family to support us, we can't always be at home with our kids. We don't necessarily live in neighbourhoods either, where other adults look out for our children and know who their parents are. This can actually happen easily and before we've even become aware of it. Children start to look to their peers for support instead, for emotional connection, to copy their clothes, their walk, their language. So instead of taking their cues on how to be in the world from us as their parents, they learn from their friends instead. A skewed attachment to peers instead of parents can lead to rudeness, defiance, lack of respect. That counter-will that comes out in full force without a strong connection to us is incredibly difficult to manage. So going back to the story I shared earlier, what was happening when our children said no was a completely natural developmental stage. Our children just learning how to be in the world, create a sense of who they are, a separate individual with a separate mind. These moments of counter-will are usually limited to particular situations. It just takes a little awareness on our part to guide through and communicate, appropriately. But when this becomes every situation, refocusing on our children and the relationship with them is vital. We were asked recently to put together a class with more information about this, and actually we've done just that. The main thing we wanted to highlight is that the number one key to parenting is not acquiring a set of skills, must-dos and don'ts. It's recognising that parenting above all is a relationship and a connection. So if you feel like you'd need a bit more insight into this attachment relationship, how to nurture it and support your children, if you'd like more concrete examples and ideas of ways to re-establish a strong connection with your kids, then this is the class for you. It's just as important for those with babies as it is for older children. So ideally, you can do the whole course, making sure you hit all the key areas for healthy child development, or just pick and choose a module. Space is limited though, so don't miss out. So you can click this link now or go straight to our website, naturalchilddevelopment.com, to secure your space. And we'll speak to you soon.